Let's talk about the new Pro mode on DJI 1.4.0. Hey guys, so we've now got all the sliders at the bottom right hand corner. This controls resolution, the FPS. So today I'm going to be talking about the Auto and the Pro mode. We're going to be talking about the ISO, which is the light gathering ability, and the shutter speed, which is the measurement of time the shutter is open. And we're going to be talking about the motion blur as well. So, and you can see now on the bottom right hand corner, when we click on the Pro button, that is all blown out. This is because we haven't got an ND filter on. So as you can see now, we can turn that ISO and it doesn't make much difference whatsoever without an ND filter on. This is why it's really important. We're going to be filming today in 4K 25, so our shutter speed should be double, so it needs to be around about 1/50th or 1/60th, but you can see now, to actually get any kind of decent image, our shutter is 1/800. So that is not going to give a very nice natural image. There's going to be hardly any motion blur. So this is why it's so important to use an ND filter. We've also got a white balance slider, and this adjusts the warmth and the coolness of the image as well. But most of the time DJI does a decent job to keep this in auto. So until you actually get really comfortable with it, auto is more than good enough. But let's just talk quickly about ND filters. ND filters are essential for your drone. It's the best accessory you need to get. For today, I'm going to be using an ND16 filter. I use these every single time before going out to fly. Just imagine when it's a sunny day, you put sunglasses on, and you should do the same with your drone. It's going to give you a much better image and able to get the 180-degree rule. You can get a set, but I just use 4 pretty much all the time. I use an ND8, I use a 16, a 32 and a CPL. I use freewheel and Skyreach filters, and they cover me for all different conditions. So now this image now is really dark, isn't it? But this has got that ND16 filter on. But that's because my shutter is still the same as what it was without a filter. But now with that filter on, I can bring my shutter speed right down to what it should be and bang on, say 1/50. So I've got it now, the shutter speed at 1/50, my FPS is 4K 25, and then your ISO you can actually change between 100 and 200, but on a bright day you want to have that ISO as low as possible, and your image then will just be so nice and natural with this ND filter. Don't get too hung up about metering mode. The scene's going to change all the time, but as long as it's around about that 0 mark, then you're absolutely fine, and that image is going to look really nice. It's going to give you such a lovely motion blur, as we can see just on the water there. So I do go on about different accessories for the drone, and the only accessory really you need is some ND filters. They are essential. Even when it's low light, I always use an ND filter. I will put up a little slide at the end of the video showing you different scenarios of when to use an ND filter, but now I was going to change location and show you some of the brilliant photos and videos you can get out of this DJI Mini 2. You can adjust your shutter speed when you are in the air depending on the different change of direction of the drone, but try and keep it all the time around about double what your frame rate is. So I've still got it at 1/50th, make sure it's all nice and set up. Just get used to these sliders. If you've never used them before, they're not going to do anything bad. You know, it's really good, and it's great that these are here for us to be able to use. You can turn that ISO up, and you can see now that image is getting a lot brighter. So if it was a darker, say around about 8-9 p.m. and it's actually dark or the sun is setting, then we can bump that ISO up. You can put a different ND filter on, such as an ND8. If you change your FPS, just keep that 180-degree rule. So we're going to look now, we're going to do 2.7K 60. So then we need to adjust our shutter speed. So the shutter speed needs to be double. So we want that to be 1/120. You can see now it's a slightly darker image. So if you want, you can bump that ISO up to 200. And again, that looks really nice. Or you can keep it at 100. But again, try your best to keep to that 180-degree rule. But we're just going to switch it back to 4K 24. So we need our shutter to be 150. There isn't a 148, but 150 is good enough. As you rise up, try this technique. Nice and slowly push that gimbal wheel down to get a really nice image like this. These shots now are just phenomenal. No color grading either. It's absolutely incredible what you can get out of this drone. think that answers the question of can the DJI Mini 2 take good videos? Well, let's look at photos. So we're going to focus now on a top-down shot. So this boat in the middle, I want to be my center point. Using the rule of thirds, I've got everything nicely lined up. I've got the grid lines on to make sure you use them, and you want that boat to be bang on in the center of the frame. So keep adjusting your drone just slightly now to the right hand side until that is slap bang in the middle of that box. Now in photos, you don't have to follow the 180-degree rule, but I do like to use it just for that motion blur look and a more of a natural image. So again, I've got the same values on this, and then JPEG and RAW. If you like editing your photos afterwards, the RAW files capture a lot more data. They are larger files, but if you like editing afterwards, use JPEG and RAW. I always have them on. If you hate editing afterwards and you just want stock ones that you can just show off on Instagram, leave it as just a JPEG. And then in auto on photos, you can change your exposure value, and that will just change the exposure of it by moving that slider. So let's take a photo. How nice does that look? And then the raw image, you can see now I've been able to edit it, or you can also do a wide panel shot as well. You can do a 180 degrees shot of the area you're in, you get a really nice image as well. It's just incredible, this drone. So get your drone, get some ND filters, and take some of these tips with you. Write them down, go and practice. It's a big leap jumping out of auto, but in manual you've got so much more settings and play, and your image can look amazing. None of these are actually edited at all. When they are, I'll tell you, but it's phenomenal what you can get out of this drone. I've just seen this as well when I was flying about. So again, you can use that 2x zoom. It's not optical, it's digital, but you can punch into stuff and you can see what's going on in the area that you're in. It looks like to be some huge rock that it wasn't like a boat or anything, it was a rock in the end. But just having that zoom is brilliant to be able to punch in. I know it's not optical zoom, but that digital zoom is more than enough on this drone. Even with that tiny sensor, I do believe that DJI Mini 2 still produces amazing footage. You show this to anybody, stick some cinematic bars on like this, put a slight colour grade on like I've done now, and can you tell the difference between this and much bigger drones? Honestly, is it worth not being able to fly in the areas which you can fly with the DJI Mini 2? You'll be able to fly in so many more places but still get shots like this. A few people asked me would I buy this again, and I would definitely buy this again. Even with a DJI Mini 2S or a 3 coming out, this is still going to be a fantastic drone, and that Air 2S or 3 probably isn't going to be out until at least the end of the year. So go and buy it, go and treat yourself this weekend to this drone. It's all linked in the description below. This drone is still my favourite drone. So you now should all be certified the Disney 5 Pro Mode experts on the DJI Mini 2. I hope you found that helpful, guys. Go and practice it. Let me know in the comments, did you find it helpful? Have you given it a go over the weekend, and do you see a difference in your images? I hope you're going to find that helpful. It's going to make you better drone pilots and also be able to take even better photos and videos. If you're new around here, go and check out some of the old videos. It'd be great to hear from you in the comments. I'll try and answer every single comment. See you all soon, guys. Thanks very much. Bye bye.